Assalamu alaikum. So I usually do an intro, dive in. I don't have time. I'm just gonna tell you guys how to make money, right? I'm gonna tell you the best business for Muslims online. Every Muslim that I've spoken to over the past 3 years have wanted these three things. They wanted 1, time, 2, location, and 3, money. They want agenda pretty much, but I'm gonna tell you guys the closest thing that I found to having some time freedom, at least some time control, right? Being able to live where you want to live, inshallah, and having some money to spend and do the things that are important for you, be that sadaqah, be that making hijrah, be that having the time to pray your salawat in the masajid, or block your time out of your calendar, or travel, whatever it might be, right? Now, what I'm going to be speaking about specifically is something that I like to call a stress-free funnel. Stress-free funnel, okay? So normally, so you guys can understand why this is called stress-free, I need to explain to you how a normal funnel typically looks, right? So nowadays you have two different types of funnels. Usually you have a low ticket product where you might be selling like an ebook or $9.99 or course or I don't know, some kind of e-com, maybe you're selling a t-shirt, something like that. Then you may have something called high ticket, if you guys are familiar with it, where somebody is selling something that's over 1,000 USD or pounds, whatever you want to call it. And this typically requires some type of sales call process, right? So you have people swearing by low ticket, right? And then just getting a whole bunch of volume. And you have people who are swearing by high ticket and just trying to take as much money from people as possible and sometimes not even fulfilling correctly on the back end, right? What happens, what I've found, is when you're running something called a high ticket process, then you are always in this perpetual loop where you need to get someone in to pay $1,000. Maybe you need to get 10 people, maybe you need to get 20 people so you can hit the amount you want to make per month. And when you're running this low ticket funnel, it's the same exact thing, but maybe you need to get 100 people here or 200 people so you can hit the 20K mark, right? Or the 10K mark, right? Now, I've seen people run both of these funnels and these business models, and it works fine. You can get results, right? I did it for myself for a while. But what I've noticed is there's something new, which is why we call it the stress-free funnel, that combines both of these things and does it in a way where you're not always stressed about the next customer coming into the door, right? Especially this is the door. You're not always stressed about bringing new people in. Every month you have to get 20 new people to buy, right? To trust you enough to buy your product at 10K or to buy your product at 1K or to buy your product at 100 or whatever it might be. This right here is the high ticket process or the low ticket process. What you need to do is have a higher LTV, which is lifetime value for these customers that come in, inshallah. So what you can do there, and you guys might be familiar with something called school, where you have communities. And what you end up doing there is you may be selling something for 99 USD per month. It's the same thing that Netflix, Amazon, right? It's the same thing that Netflix does. You may have Amazon, and any other streaming service. You have YouTube doing it now. They're running the business model where they have a customer come in, they sell them one time on 98, which is fairly easy, sometimes even like $10. This is what Planet Fitness does as well. And then it's per month though. So they get someone in and the person might last 6 months or 12 months, right? And they end up having a far higher like I was saying here, a far higher lifetime value, right? But this is a very small amount of money. So let's erase this now. The problem with just running that model, especially if you're doing it where it's just a business for yourself, is it's a very small amount of money, and it could take a lot of work and in the beginning feel like it's not worth your time at all. If you are simply only running $10 or making $100 per person that you sell, and you need to make, let's say, 10K fast, right? So what you need to do so you can supplement the process is you need to implement what we had over here before, which was this high ticket, which is selling something for 1,000 or more to 10 to 20 people. At the same time, you need to have a low ticket that requires a lot less amount of trust. So you have a low ticket for $9 a month, maybe, or $19 a month. That costs a lot less lower amount of trust, and you run this at the same time, right? But this low ticket gives you MRR. So now you can get 10 people in here and you're making 90, and you slowly build that up, right? And at the same time, you have a high ticket for those who want more help or who want more done for you. And what this creates is, I like to call it an ecosystem where you are able to capture more people who come into your marketing and are interested in whatever it is you're mentioning on your social media or your ads, whatever it might be. They're able to come in and you're able to capture more people. If they don't have enough trust, they can try out whatever it is you're offering on that low ticket, right? $9 a month. And then if they already have enough trust, they can come right over to this high ticket and spend that 1,000. And if you run this at the same time for 1 to 3 months, you end up building up what I like to call stress-free funnel, because you end up having 100 to 1,000 people in your low ticket, right? Spending, let's say, 10 to 100 USD per month, right? So now you're making anywhere between 1,000 to 100,000 USD per month simply from just running this low ticket, right? At the same time, you have your high ticket, and people who come in through your low ticket and they end up wanting more help, you can upsell them to this high ticket, and you can get 10 to 20 people to buy this at 1,000, right? And now you're making 10 to 20K just from there. And now you're not worried every month about where your money's coming from, because you have this MRR from your low ticket, right? And you actually have a pile of leads in your low ticket who have trust, which is the most important thing to sell someone. You need trust, right? A sale equals trust. Let me actually do this. Trust equals sale, right? So you actually have a pile of leads here. Let's imagine these are the people in your low ticket benefiting. They have maybe a live call. Maybe they have some recordings. A play button. Or maybe they have some recordings they're watching. And they're building up trust. They understand you're an expert in what you're explaining in your field. And then once they get some wins from doing that and they have some more money in their pocket, they're going to want to get more done for you in a high ticket. So it removes the stress of always marketing on social media or running ads or email marketing or cold calling, right? And it's going to, after you run this, I would say for about 3 to 6 months after you run this consistently, You're going to build up this stress-free environment where you know you have people waiting to upsell into your high ticket, right? Of course, you're going to continue to market, but you're also going to be able to capture more of the potential leads that are interested because they can opt in to buying something that's a lower ticket, testing it out, getting benefit, and then upselling later on as well. So this is the basis behind this stress-free funnel. And I think this is the perfect funnel for the Muslims out here and anybody who's watching this to start making the money you want to make online, right? But one key thing you want to keep in mind when you make these low ticket, to make this work, when you make these low ticket, I always like to run it as a communities. You want it to be in line, and you want it to be targeting the same type of people as your high ticket. The reason being is because you're trying to create an ecosystem where you get people who come into here, they benefit, they make some money, then they go here. It could potentially be a mid-ticket if you really want to get a little more complicated. Then they benefit, make some more money, and then they have the financial capability to upsell, and they have the trust to upsell to your high ticket. But if you're selling something, if your low ticket or what you're selling for your low ticket doesn't align, it's not aligned with what you're selling for your high ticket, then you can't create this ecosystem and it doesn't become this stress-free funnel. Let me just put it here. This stress-free funnel that I'm telling you about, right? So that means you have to make sure everything is aligned so that once you market on your social media, let's say this is a hat, if this is a phone, let's say you're doing it on YouTube, let's put a box in the play button, whatever that looks like. Let's say you're doing emails, right? Let's say you're doing emails, a little envelope, whatever it might be. Once you send this out to the web, right? You send these out, it's going all over your marketing, and you're able to start. Imagine these are magnets. You're bringing people who are interested. They're seeing your stuff, right? You give them options on how they can benefit from you. Obviously, this is going to be free stuff, so they're going to get value. Then they have the options, right, to come into your low ticket, or some of these guys might already have enough trust to directly buy your high ticket. But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating this ecosystem, and it's going to be easy when it comes to your marketing, inshallah, because it's all going to be targeting the same type of person. Now, what I want to do is give you an example that I think is relatable for the Muslim audience. I'm going to give you an example, right? Either you would have someone who, let's say it's an Arabic teacher, right? Arabic teacher. And typically what you have in the Islamic space, in the Muslim space, what I see is very common, is you have someone, an Arabic teacher, who wants to leverage this to make some money, so he can have, location, he can have time or financial freedom, he can have some money, right? And typically what I've seen for the Arabic teachers, they're trying to do it mainly so they can have this location, time, and money freedom, so they can study, right? They can study the deen, right? And what they end up doing is maybe doing some one-on-one for cheap, right? Or maybe some small groups, right? For maybe, let's say, $50 a month, right? They're either doing this, or rarely you may come across an Arabic teacher who is doing some one-on-one for high ticket, right? For 1,000 plus. Now, there's a few problems here. One, if you're doing it for cheap, there's actually a lot of problems we're doing for cheap, right? One is it's going to be very difficult to even reach these goals that you're trying to do it for. Two is you're not going to be able to do it with something that's very important. Ihsan, because you're undercharging, which means you're gonna have to under deliver, okay? That's the problem with doing things for cheap. And you should only do things for cheap or inexpensive for those that don't have the financial capability to pay for something that is more expensive, because the thing is, more expensive means better results. And if you're teaching someone Arabic, why would you want to get cheap results, right? So this is typically what you would see. You'll see something like this, one-on-one for cheap, or group or small groups, right, for cheap usually. And every now and then you'll see this, which is one-on-one for expensive, but you only can take maybe 5 people or 10 people, and it's very hard to sell, all right? So you come across all these problems if you're only running one of these. Now, what you need to do if you were to implement this stress-free funnel, and I want the homework I'm gonna have for you guys is to figure out how you can implement this for your service, right? For your business, inshallah. But what you would need to do to solve this problem is very simple. One, you just need to have a community where people can benefit, okay? This community, maybe you charge $10 a month. Then 2, I'm gonna actually give you an example of a mid-ticket, right? Maybe you have some group calls, small group calls, you might have some accountability, you might have, and then you might have access to this community as well, right? And then 3, we come over here, would be your your tier, right? It would be your higher price, which would include all of this, but then instead of having small group, they're gonna have one-on-ones, and they might have access to more of your time and resources, right? And speaking sessions, right? So now what you created, there's 3 different offers here. One, you have a community that has some recordings, right, that people can benefit from. You have maybe weekly calls, maybe you have reminders, right, about the importance of learning Arabiya, right? So that's the community, and somebody can come in for $10 a month. You can get 50 to, let's say, 150 people to join this and benefit immensely. And you're already making between 500 to 1,500 potentially, just by having this community. Which in some cases that might be enough for someone, but we want to make it more so you can really reach those goals of financial time, location, freedom, inshallah. So then what you do is you implement this second tier, which is this mid-ticket, where you just increase the amount of service for those that can afford it and need it. So then you have small group calls and you add accountability to what they're already getting. So now they're coming in, they have a community, they have recordings, they have reminders, daily reminders of the importance of Arabic and how to memorize and things of that nature. Then they also have group calls with the other students, right? Small group calls with a specific amount of students who are actually serious, inshallah. And they have accountability for someone to come in every day and hold them accountable to the homework and the goals that are important for them. And here, maybe they pay $500, right? For 3 months. Right? So now you're making 1,500, let's just say 1,000 to make it simple. You're making $1,000 a month from the community. Then you have 10% of people here that want this mid-ticket, right? So you have potentially 5 to 15 people that spend 500, whatever that is. What's that? Times 10 would be, let's just say 5,000 to make it easier. So you make 1,000 here per month, right? Then you have 5 to 15 people who upsell, so you can make 5,000 from there, right? And then you have a higher tier, which is 2,000 for 6 months, plus one-on-ones and 24/7, right? WhatsApp, right? So they have more of your time, and they have more resources, and they have just speaking sessions with other people who are in this one-on-one who are serious, and you probably would get maybe 10% of people to join from here. But let's say it's 10 people, so maybe you get one person per month who pays 2,000 to get access to this. So now you make 2,000 here, you make 5,000 here, you make 1,000 here, and that's all. So what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, right? It's 8K. That's all from just 1 month and only getting 50 to 150 people who are interested and trust you enough for this $10 a month community. This is an example. It's something that a lot of Arabic teachers can implement, right? And you end up creating an ecosystem that makes it much easier to reach, right? To reach the goals, right? Which is time, money, and location, freedom. And that's just an example from just a month of running that, right? Now imagine if you did that for 6 months. Imagine if you do that for 6 months and you're able to double down the amount of people that come into your community. So let's say you got 50 people each month, and now it's 6 months, and now you have 300 people, right? And then 10% of that is you have 30 people who bought the 500, but it's gonna be more expensive because more people are getting it and you're making it better. And then you're gonna have 3 to 10 people that got your high ticket, which is the 2,000 when it started, but it's going to get more expensive because you've been making it better and getting better results and having more demand, of course, and building up more trust and testimonials in the market, right? But the thing is, this is lifetime value because you have a community. So even when somebody finishes this high ticket and their 6 months run out, they drop back down into here. And they're always going to be in here where they're spending $10 a month with you, always. So you literally just create this, it's basically just a circle. You're creating this ecosystem where everyone, it's a triangle where you're just, this is the low, mid, ticket, and the high, right? And people are benefiting and benefiting and benefiting, and they're staying in there, which is the main thing, which is this $10 a month. And you're building up trust and testimonials, and you're getting market feedback for cheap, right? And you're not stressed out about where you're getting your next lead. The only thing you need to do is build this up for 3 to 6 months and build your product. Of course, make sure you're delivering your product with ihsan, inshallah, by giving it its haqq, or giving it its right. And you're going to create a system where you can easily reach, I would say, 10 to 50K per month without stress. That is the stress-free funnel, and that is the best business for Muslims, in my opinion. If you guys like this, make sure to subscribe, I guess, follow, and we're gonna have more things coming out just like this, inshallah.